You ever hear a quietly confident guy in the backseat of a car say one sentence and realize it's more honest than 1,000 pundit takes? Cam Skattebo, sidelined, stitched up, and watching the season from the bench, leaned into a camera with neon and said straight up, "The Broncos are good. They just find a way to win games." It was casual, a little rueful, the kind of line you file away because it'll echo later. Instagram. There's something poetic about it. Skattebo, a rookie who busted his way into a role and then saw the season clipped by a brutal ankle injury, has been watching the NFL from the margins. He isn't pretending the Giants have a shot this winter. He says what a lot of players know in the locker room: talent only gets you so far. The rest is habit, culture, timing. He watched the Broncos do that thing Sunday night: close, clutch, methodical, and he called it. That's the heart of this story. A player sidelined by fate, but still sharp enough to read the league. Reuters picture the Broncos right now, steamrolling into the back half of the season on an 8-game win streak, a 9-2 record, and a quarterback who quietly keeps the offense humming. Bo Nix led the charge in Week 11, carving up the Chiefs late and setting up Will Lutz to take the game at the buzzer. It was textbook. Calm veteran kicker, efficient QB, defense bending but not breaking, and a roster that seems to find the small wins that add up to a big season. For outsiders, it looks like good fortune. For people who play the game, it looks like identity. Reuters. Let's rewind to the kid who made that offhand prediction. Cam Skattebo burst onto the scene with legit speed and instincts. In 8 games, he compiled 101 carries, 410 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and added 24 catches for 207 receiving yards and 2 more scores, numbers that screamed, "Do not sleep on this kid." Then, on October 29th, the season stopped. A severe ankle injury and a trip to injured reserve. That kind of abrupt halt is common in football, but it's brutal for momentum, especially for a player whose confidence was building with every snap. Reuters. So he sits, posts a WWE clip, rolls with the viral moment, and when Neon asks about winners, he gives the honest scouting report instead of lip service to his own club. There's humility in that, but also honesty. He'd rather tell the truth, the Broncos are clicking, than give the soundbite fans want. It's the sign of a player who's enough of a student of the game to read trends and enough of an optimist to look at a 9-win team and see a plan, not luck. Instagram. Now let's unpack what finding a way to win really means for Denver. First, stability. Second, clutch execution. Third, coaching that doesn't panic when a play breaks down. When a team strings together 8 straight, including a late, chilly field goal winner over the Chiefs, you're seeing more than highlight plays. You're seeing depth of character. Bo Nix isn't a Hollywood gunslinger making one play after another. He's a manager of games who converts third downs, reads pockets under pressure, and makes the plays the scheme asks of him. Paired with a defense that bends but doesn't fold, and a kicker who isn't shy when the stadium goes silent, you've got a formula. Reuters. Here's the twist a lot of fans miss. Teams that find a way don't always thrill on every snap. They win ugly and clean up the tape on Monday. That approach drives opponents crazy because you never get comfortable. The Broncos' Week 11 game was exactly that. Not a blowout, not a circus, just a steady accumulation of plays that mattered when the clock was short. That's as much about temperament as it is about X's and O's. It's a culture thing, and culture is contagious. It seeps into practice, into the way backups prepare, into how the special teams block on a 35-yard chip shot that becomes a game winner. Reuters return to Skattebo, and you start seeing a mirror. The Giants' season isn't defined by his injury, but his absence reveals gaps the team will have to fix. There's a difference between rebuilding around a rookie's potential and having to patch holes midstream because the field has exposed them. Cam's early productivity hinted at something sustainable, the kind of player who helps you win one-score games late in the season. Without him, the Giants are left to ask, can we manufacture that toughness in other ways, or do we wait for healthy returns next year? That's the practical question behind Skattebo's offhand Broncos pick. Reuters. Let's talk stakes. Why would a sidelined rookie's Super Bowl prediction matter? Because it's a window into the player market. Rookies, veterans, scouts, they obsess over which teams have momentum. Players respect teams that find a way because that's where you want to land when you're a free agent or trying to resurrect a career. Skattebo's line is a scouting note in plain language. Broncos have something that others want. It's an admission that talent alone isn't the whole deal. Organizational habits are. That's the difference between being good and being a championship contender. Instagram. Okay, but can Denver close the season and stay the team? Cam called. The schedule is anything but gentle. After a bye, they face the Washington Commanders and then the Raiders, followed by tests against the Green Bay Packers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, followed a rematch with the Chiefs, and a late-season bout with the Los Angeles Chargers. That stretch will separate smoke from steel. If Denver keeps winning the close ones, Cam's prediction gets louder. If cracks appear, pundits will return to the young team narrative. The next 6 games are the real audition. NFL.com, there's one more human beat to land on. Skattebo's social presence, the WWE clip, the neon stream, isn't a distraction so much as a coping mechanism. Players sidelined by injury look for community and a way to stay relevant. He's keeping his brand alive, yes, but he's also maintaining the competitive edge that says, I'm still in the room even when I'm not on the field. That's a delicate art in 2025's noisier NFL. Be present, be sharp, and don't let the narrative slip into decline while you're rehabbing. Facebook. So what's the headline here? It's not just rookie predicts Broncos. It's the idea that players, even injured ones, are the truest barometers of what's happening in the league. When a young running back who knows his own game says plainly they just find a way to win, it's less bravado and more field-level intelligence. That line crystallizes a season-long story. Denver has built something steady. The Giants are rebuilding around what they lost, and the rest of the league is watching, taking notes, and bracing for the Denver script to be written in the playoffs. Instagram, close your eyes for a second and imagine the slow-motion replay. Will Lutz's foot, the ball sailing through, the roar and the paperwork of a win added to a streak. Now imagine Cam Skattebo watching that replay from his rehab table, smirking with the satisfaction of someone who called it before it was cool. That smirk is the small human moment that ties everything together. Prophecy, humility, and a young man who knows the league is a habit as much as a scoreboard. Final thought, predictions are cheap. Conviction is rare. When a sidelined rookie says, "Who will win it all?" listen. He's watching the games you don't, the practices, the tempo, the quiet way a team handles pressure. Cam Skattebo didn't just pick a team, he described a blueprint. If Denver keeps building on it, his little line won't sound like a tweet, it'll sound like a warning. You want the content straight? Here's the story. He's hurt, sidelined, and still somehow picking winners like he's watching the entire season from a recliner. Cam Skattebo, the Giants' rookie running back who went down with a season-ending ankle injury after a breakout start, recently named the Denver Broncos his pick to win the Super Bowl, and the moment felt like a little perfect howl against the noise around New York's season. It landed in a casual car interview with streamer Neon, went viral across socials, and suddenly a player who's been doing rehab on crutches was stirring up off-season arguments about who's really the team to beat. Newsweek, that line, "The Broncos are good, they just find a way to win games," is the sort of throwaway thought that becomes a headline when your team is 2-9 and your playbook is a dumpster fire. The Giants' season has been a slow unspooling of injuries, coaching changes, and missed chances. Skattebo's own campaign ended after 8 electric games in which he rushed 101 times for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns, and added a solid receiving presence before the ankle dislocated. He was one of the few stories in New York that read like hope. Losing him is part of why the team that wanted to dream playoff football now feels like it's on the lifeline. ESPN.com. But Skattebo's pick isn't random bravado. The Broncos, riding a defense-first identity and led by a quietly efficient young QB, have been racking up wins in ways that feel overdue but undeniable. Denver's Week 11 victory over the Chiefs, a 22-19 nail-biter sealed by a late field goal, kept the Broncos near the top of the league standings and stoked the "they just find a way" narrative Skattebo mentioned. That kind of late-game composure and ugly win resume is exactly what veterans and locker room personalities notice first. When a player on the sidelines says it out loud, it's because he sees film, tone, or scheduling that tells him the team is peaking at the right time. ESPN.com. There's a small cultural subplot to all of this. Skattebo hasn't been spending his rehab in an isolation tank. He's been front and center in a weird, modern athlete life, streaming, appearing with influencers, and even getting his own viral clip from a WWE crowd moment. That visibility is double-edged. On one hand, it keeps fans engaged and gives a sideline player a platform to shape narratives about his team and the league. On the other,